So you learned how to publish your app to Android. Let's now do the same for iOS. And again, in the official docs, you find detailed instructions, which I strongly recommend that you check out to have a written step-by-step guide. Now, for publishing iOS apps, you need an Apple developer account, and here you actually now need a paid account, which costs $99 a year. This is in place to make sure that only people who are a bit serious about it release apps to the App Store, and there is no way around it. So to publish to the App Store, you need such a paid account. With that account, once you enrolled there into the Apple Developer Program, and links can be found here in the official docs, you can go to App Store Connect, which is the first step for setting up your app in the end. You can also Google for App Store Connect to find a direct link and then log in with your Apple ID, which is connected to that Apple developer account for which you're paying. Once you did sign in there, as you can see there, you should open the App IDs page and click on plus to create a new bundle ID. You can simply click on the App IDs link here, of course, to be taken to the right page. And there, go to identifiers, click on the plus here, and register a new app ID. So click continue here. Choose the platform, which should be iOS, and then give it a description like great places, and choose an explicit bundle ID. And now here, use that same bundle ID you're using here in Xcode. So this bundle identifier, make sure you're using this here as well. Check any capabilities your app uses, and in my case, no special capabilities are required here. But if you're using any of these features, make sure you check it and then click continue, and thereafter register. And that's now step number 1. With that out of the way, go back to App Store Connect, where we've been before, and click on My Apps here. And click on the plus icon here and New App. Choose iOS as a platform and give it a name, which is the name that is displayed in the Apple App Store as well, as you can see here. So make sure this is a good name, which gets users to click on it. Choose your primary language, which in my case is English here. And then choose a bundle ID here, and it can take a while until your newly created ID shows up here. So once it does, choose it here. You can give this an internal identifier here if you wanted to, like great places, and then click create here in the end. Okay, now this name is unsurprisingly already used, so I'll name it Great Places Course. Of course, you want to find a name here which is not in use already and which describes your app well. And with that, we created the app here. Now here again, you can fill out the details on this page to edit how the app is listed in the App Store and how it looks like there. However, we will now continue in Xcode. You'll also find this in the official docs. There, you should now open your Xcode project. Make sure that your display name and bundle identifier are set up correctly. So click on your project name here. Make sure this is set up correctly. And under signing, make sure that you'll have automatically managed signing checked. And regarding the version, the build number here, go back to your project code and there in the pubspec.yaml file, make sure you set your version here. The part in front of the plus is the version number that will be visible to your users. So when they go to the App Store, that's the version of the app they will see. This should, of course, be a version that makes sense to your users. So for example, if you publish a new version where you have a minor bug fix in there, maybe change this to 1.0.1. This doesn't look like a huge breaking change, and your users will simply see that there is a new version which probably just fixed something minor. You have a bigger change, maybe change that middle number. And if you have a large new version, maybe change that front number, because version 2.0 certainly looks more important than 1.0.1. So really just change a number that makes sense for the size of the change your update brings. The number after the plus here is your internal number, and you should simply increment this with every new version you're releasing. This should be an integer and simply, well, use a new number here whenever you publish a new version to the App Store. That is how you should manage these versions. With all the versions set up correctly here and all the other settings also being correct up here, you can go back to your project, open the terminal there, and run flutter build iOS. And this will now build your production-ready iOS application. And it will automatically optimize your code, shrink it to be as small as possible, and sign your app for production. Once this is done, close and restart Xcode. So that same project in Xcode, of course. And now in there, as you see in the official docs, go to Product Scheme Runner and select Product Destination Generic iOS Device. So here, Product Scheme Runner. Make sure that this is set. And also make sure that Product Destination Generic iOS Device is set here. And with that configured, go to Product and then Archive, which in the end also now bundles up your iOS application into an app bundle, which can be deployed to the App Store. And wait for this process to finish. And now in that new window which opens up here, select your project. And you can now validate your app or distribute your app to upload it to the App Store and then continue from there and publish it from there as well. Now I will not do that here, but that's the next step, that you can thereafter publish your app from inside App Store Connect, which we worked in earlier. And that's how you publish your iOS app.